Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's Mr. Happiness 2000 broadcast. And we are looking at how to eradicate stress from your life using the Abraham-Hicks philosophy. Thank you all for joining me. Much appreciated you taking your time out. So, yeah, this workshop tonight, online workshop, could well change your life. I'm going to give you all the tools to make those changes. It's up to you to apply them. But let's get on with it. Okay, so thanks for joining us. So let me know. We make this workshop interactive instead of me just talking at you for hours. It won't be hours. Let me know where you're streaming in from. Let me know where you found out about this workshop, and do let me know if you've heard of Abraham-Hicks. And you can type away in the chat facility. I think it's either to one side of your video or below it, depending on whether you're watching this on a laptop or on your phone. But yeah, do let me know. It'd be really interesting to know a bit more about yourself. And I'm going to keep asking you stuff as we go on, so you respond in the same way. So moving forward, so this philosophy is from Abraham-Hicks. It's not stuff that I've made up myself, and you can find out loads of clips on YouTube. Just type in Abraham-Hicks. You'll see absolutely loads on there about any topic that you want to find a solution to. And this stuff changed my life. I'll explain more in a moment. Yeah, basically, my background is I ran a charity, a positive mental health charity, teaching this stuff between 2009 and 2011. And it was endorsed by Hay House Publishing, Louise L. Hay. Any of you that know Hay House Publishing, any of you that have been into a bookstore anywhere in the world, if you go into the self-help section, most of the books published in that section will be published by Hay House. And Louise Hay was the founder of that publishing company. And she heard what I was doing, and she said, Feel Good UK is one of the best programs I've come across for young people. Excuse me, I highly recommend them. What I was doing, I ran a charity working with long-term unemployed young people, teaching them this stuff, which I'm teaching you tonight. Excuse me, not been talking all day. Start talking, start coughing. That's not good, is it? I am in good health, really. Yeah, and how this stuff really helped me, I know this stuff works, is because I suffered 15 years of chronic fatigue, and over excuse me, over 3 years, I had 25 blood tests. The NHS just kind of left me on my own, told me it was viral, couldn't find any cause for it, and so I was just left to sort of get on with my life. And then when I found this philosophy, I started applying it myself. It's all about mindset, and I will clarify this later. And yeah, and it cured me of my chronic fatigue. And this is where I know this stuff is really powerful. I know that it works. I know that it can significantly raise your energy if you continuously apply the techniques I'm going to teach you tonight. And it makes life fun and enjoyable rather than this agonizing endurance test that my life was before I found this stuff. So yeah, do let me know, those of you that just come on the call, where you're streaming in from, and where did you find out about this workshop, and have you heard of Abraham-Hicks? It'd be really good to know. So yeah, you can find out more about me at my website, mrhappiness2000.com, and on there are loads of Abraham-Hicks clips as well. So do tune in. So moving on then. So this workshop is going to teach you conscious thinking. Any of you that have been on one of my workshops before, you're going to find this, the intro format is quite similar, but then we will go specifically into focusing on about eradicating stress from your life and really looking in at specifics of what the causes of stress are and how to fix it. This workshop, as always, it would tell you how to think, because you're going to realize there's particular ways that you need to think. It's not going to tell you, excuse me, specifically what to think, because we've all got our own individual desires and wants in life. And who am I to tell you what you should be thinking and asking for in life? Life is completely subjective. We've all got our own dreams. So yeah, it's going to teach you how to gradually work to eradicate stress from your life, because it's not a one-stop shop fix all. It's something you need to keep doing. Once you're conscious of how, I'd say, easy it is all about practice. But once you realize the techniques to do this, and once you get the hit of positive emotion with no more stress being in your life, you get addicted to feeling good, basically. And so it becomes your go-to default. And once you get a run with this, okay, there will be a sweeping generalizations. Everyone's obviously got their own experience of stress, and in one workshop we can't go into specifics, but we will do tangible exercises which will demonstrate how to do this. And if you do these workshops right, and I'll talk you through them, these exercises right, and I'll talk you through them, yeah, you should very quickly get an awareness of how to apply this yourself, because the whole aim of my teachings are to give you self-management, to empower you so you can manage this, eradicate stress from your life for the rest of your life. How good does that sound? So some of this stuff can be confronting, it can be emotional, it can be getting inside your head, asking you to think about stuff that you've maybe not considered before, but that's what all this stuff is about. So yeah, it's confronting your shadow selves, really. That's what the work is with this. Take your time with this, though. But yeah. So let's identify the problem then. So this is where we become interactive again. You've been very quiet so far. Normally people respond to me, but no one's responded to me so far. Let me know that you can hear me okay. That'd be really good. Hopefully I'm not talking to myself. So how do you know you're stressed? That's the first thing I'll ask. Do you want to just type into the chat how you know you're stressed? Okay, I'll give you a few moments to do that. Okay, we've got some answers coming in now, which is fantastic. Let's have a look. So when I'm overwhelmed. Yep. Thank you, Roti. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else want to share? That'd be good. Yes, when life seems out of control, isn't it? Like, oh my God, I've been asked to do something, or I have to attempt something. I don't think I can achieve it. Seems out of control. Too much for me. Yep. Anyone else want to share? I'll tell you what I put. Okay. So yeah, so you kind of the signals of, because the question was, remember, how do you know you're stressed? There's a feeling state, isn't there? You feel bad, negative emotion, lack of fulfillment, engagement. You can feel the lack of, that I really want to do this. You can feel tense, on edge. You can feel exhausted, and illness. You get, Leah said here, tension, headache. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, you get sick more frequently. So there's all these physical indicators that maybe you're not managing stress so well. Thanks for sharing. We kind of touched on some of them already. What are the consequences of feeling stressed? Do you want to type away again in the chat? Share with me. It'd be good to get your responses rather than me talking at you for the next hour or so. Do let me know. Yeah. So what are the consequences of feeling stressed? Okay, we've got some answers coming in. Yeah, less resilient. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's have a look what I put. Thanks for sharing again, Leah. So let's have a look. Yeah. So you feel bad. Life sucks. Kind of what I said before. Fatigue, exhaustion. Again, it's a massive physical indicator. You can't think clearly. This is what I find. Yeah, we've got some other answers coming in now. Giving up. Yeah. Less able to deal with illness. Yeah. Okay, you can't think clearly. You get irritable and snappy. Your mood can collapse when you're stressed, which can be disruptive to the rest of your life, and you get sick and ill more frequently. So there's all these sort of indicators that stress isn't really a place that we want to be in on a regular basis. What the big indicator of the big sort of impact of any kind of stress is on our energy. Okay, so when we've got an energy drain, we know that we're not doing something right within ourselves. This is the key to the solution to all of this. The biggest drain on our physical energy is from our mental state, what we're thinking about. And this is what we are really going to look at in detail tonight, because we're told in this world, this modern era, that if we invest in energy drinks, etc., or coffee or caffeine and all these things, that physical products outside of ourselves, it will help us have more energy. And once you realize how to manage your mind correctly, which I'm going to teach you tonight, that's when you get natural energy. And this energy is on tap and available to you at all times. So yeah, it's quite a radical concept to what the world has been told at the moment. I always ask this, those of you, Roti, I think you've been on my these calls before, haven't you? So you might recognize this sort of initial structure. I always ask this, if you can reply in the the chat. Have you ever been happy? Was it good? And how did you know you were happy? Do let me know your answers to those questions in the chat. Because so I know that it's not just me that's experienced this, that it is a universal kind of experience, the benefits of happiness. We've got more people joining us. So those of you that are just coming on, if you can join in, interacting in the text bit. I think I'm just watching it here on my phone as well. That I know the text bit is below the video. If you hold your phone up, that way, what's that, portrait, isn't it? Then yeah, it's below. I think if you're on a laptop, it's to the right of you. So yeah, do let me know, have you ever been happy? Was it good? And how did you know you were happy? Do type away, share your comments. Nothing is coming through yet. So I'll move on then. Okay, so yeah, so happiness is a feeling. It's an emotional state. It's not a word. It's not a conversation. It's a completely overpowering emotional state that affects your entire physiology. And when it's a strong experience of happiness, it completely affects your entire being, the quality of your life at that point in time. Would you agree? Hopefully you do. How would you describe that feeling? How do you know you're happy? What is the feeling state that tells you you're happy? do answer in the chat. I think if you're watching this on the Facebook, you do have to accept to use StreamYard as a tool, as an app that you're allowing to integrate with your Facebook before your answers can come to me. So we got Leah again is commenting. Thank you. So it's, what's that? Trusting life. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So suddenly you feel better, don't you? Yeah, I would say happiness feels warm, exhilarating, revitalizing, that energy thing again, energizing, all consuming, protected. Like you said, you trust, you suddenly feel, yeah, that you can do right, secure and immovable. There's a power in happiness, isn't there? There's a sudden, you kind of lock into who you're meant to be. So the more we can, be happy and learn to manage our happiness, the more we're tapping into our own power. So let's ask this then. Let's go cut to the chase. What is stressing you out right now? Tell me. You don't have to go into detail, but do share it in the chat again. Let me know what it is that you feel is stressing you out. Do type away. I'll give you a moment to do that again. Okay, we've got some answers coming through again. Thank you, Leah. So money, work, getting old, not losing any weight. Yeah, there can be a myriad of reasons in life can stress us out. Thank you for sharing, Leah. Much appreciated. I know because this stuff's about life, isn't it? It's not like we're talking about some fictional thing where you're sharing aspects of your life yourself, your own experience with me here. That's really appreciated. Yeah, so let's ask, so are these things real? Or are the kind of the what is stressing you out? Is it fantasy? Is it projected in the future that, you know, maybe if you haven't got enough money that something really bad's going to happen? It hasn't happened yet, but it is going to happen, potentially could happen. That work, something's going on at work that you can't deal with. What's going to happen to you as you're getting older? You know, is it going to be positive or negative? And the whole impact of not being able to lose weight. Do let me know. Just share. Are those stresses real, or are a lot of them kind of what you're immediately thinking and projecting into the future? Do let me know again. Okay, so I'll move on. So would you agree that the quality of your entire life depends on how you feel on a moment by moment basis? So that's a big radical question. So it's not necessarily the stuff that you've got, that your reality, that who you're with, which is defining the quality of life, what job you're doing, etc. It's your feeling state that is determining the quality of your life on a moment by moment basis. Okay, this is where this concept of happiness is instrumental. Yeah, answers coming through now. Yeah, so it's our emotional reaction to life, isn't it? Not necessarily our life, the life we're leading ourselves. And this is where it's interesting. Our reaction to life is completely individual to each of us. It's what's the word? I can't remember the word now. Unique. So it's one person could be less fortunate than us, but their attitude to life is more positive than say someone that's got more than that they've got, but that person's just looking negatively at the world. And is that individual that's potentially got less money in the bank, less hasn't got a car, hasn't got a nice house, etc., but if their energy is higher, if they're feeling happier, if they're feeling more connected to themselves, like as we described earlier, they enjoy life more than the person with all the stuff and the money in the bank, but someone who's not so connected to their energy. This is interesting, and this is what we're really going to look at tonight. Your chronic thinking, okay, the thoughts that you keep thinking continually again and again, and your mental focus creates your emotional state, your emotional reaction to life. And this is fundamental to eradicating stress from your life and getting happier. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to learn to control the focus of your mind to feel good more often and eradicate stress. Now, I'm going to teach you this tonight. So this workshop has the potential to completely change your life for the better. Okay, we're going to look at our thoughts, and if you think our thoughts become beliefs are really interesting, because beliefs are they split into two things, don't they? It's kind of like the potential of our future, the fantasy that the future that is yet to happen, but what we think could happen. It's sort of whether it's good or bad or not. So it's like, you know, are we moving to, say, on a global level, are we moving towards World War III at the moment? Some people in the news would tell us, yeah, and that could create a belief of fear that we're moving towards an abysmal future. And then there's personal beliefs, isn't there? Like, is the earth flat? Some people believe it is. Is Donald Trump good? Some people would highly dispute that. So our thoughts shape our perspective of the world and where we're going in the world. So it's important to be conscious of us. Our thoughts, the thoughts that we chronically think, become beliefs over time. Our worldview, our set worldview. And as it says here, it controls our worldview. And our worldview ultimately shapes our lives in what we believe is possible for us and what is possible in the world and what is impossible and not our potential future. The interesting thing to know, thoughts that you keep thinking become beliefs. By changing your thoughts, you can upgrade your beliefs to make sure they work for you. And we're going to look at that tonight. Okay. So thoughts and beliefs are fundamental to this work. This is scary. Internet stats sort of go between 5 and 10% on this, but they say only 5 or 10% of the average person's thinking is conscious. So only, you know, most people are only aware of the 5 or 10% of the thoughts they're thinking, which means the majority of their thinking is unconscious. And if you think, as I've said, it's the thinking, your thoughts, your beliefs that are creating your worldview. If you're not aware of what you're thinking, and you're not aware if your thoughts and your chronic thoughts, i.e. your beliefs, are working for you, this could be creating stress in your life. So this is what this work's about, getting you conscious thinking. The more unconscious you are of your thinking, the more your mind becomes your biggest life obstacle. So a lot of people think it's them versus the world. But the reality is it's actually you versus you versus a negative world, you versus you versus a negative mind, you versus a mind that unconsciously is working against you rather than for you. So it's really important that we sort of wake up and become aware of what we're thinking and whether our thinking is working for us. Okay, what consumes your mind controls your life. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you think of your body as like a car, your body can take you anywhere. You know, you can walk to London, you can walk to Brighton, you can walk to Scotland, or you can get in a car and, you know, you can travel anywhere. But it's the body that physically takes us there. But what is controlling the body? It's the mind, isn't it, that is controlling the body. So it's our mind is controlling every destination that we end up in and whether we end up where we want to be. So it's really important to be aware of your mind. What is consuming your mind, what you're thinking. Okay, this could be scary, but it's also really empowering. You and only you have the power to change your life. And tonight I'm going to tell you how you can, but it's up to you whether you apply this stuff repeatedly. Okay, so this is all powerful stuff. So any questions so far, do pop them in the chat and I'll come back to them. But now let's get on with the solution, the thing you're all here for. Okay, so would you agree the focus of your mind can go anywhere? In a 10-second period, you can think of the past, you can look at the present, or you can project into the future. If we're looking to the past, we can think we're replaying what we think are memories of our pasts. But ultimately, what we think is the past could be fictional. It could be like a fictional interpretation of what we think happened in our past. So it's fantastical, and it's certainly the same for the future. So we can project into the future where we're going to be in a year's time, where we're going to be in 5 years' time. But you need to become aware. Are you thinking positively about your chances in the world when you project into the future? Or are you being negative? Because all of this is going to, what I said, the focus of the mind is driving your body. And it is the focus of your mind is going to determine your chances in the world. So get control of the mind, you get control of your destiny. But ultimately, if we bring it down to sort of specifics, the mind can go in one of two ways. In any moment, there's a 50-50 kind of fork in the road. You can either think positive or negative. You can either love the world or hate the world. You can either look at things positively as good or negatively as bad. It's this 50-50 fork in the road always. And as he said, emotionally, there's positive and negative emotion. And this is core, this fork in the road, this split in any moment, which is core to the solution to all this. Okay. So to make a change, as I said, we need to become conscious of our thinking and our beliefs. Beliefs are just thoughts that we keep thinking. And we make changes to improve changes to our thinking, lead to an improved life. This is what we're going to do tonight. How do we control our thinking? This is the biggie, and this is ultimately emotional intelligence. We have guidance. It's making you aware that you do have guidance, that there is guidance that we all have, and our guidance are our emotions. And there's a thing called the emotional scale. Okay, it's a 22. Don't worry, I'm going to zoom in on this, so if you can't see it, but there's a 22-step scale of the emotions. If we go to the top of the scale here, and you can see straight in at number 1 is love, joy, appreciation, empowerment, and freedom. How does that make you feel? It's exhilarating, isn't it, to be in love, to be in joy, to feel free, empowered. That's what we all want. That's what we're striving for. As we move down, the top 7 are in the kind of the happiness zone. 7 is contentment. We're enjoying life. We're appreciative of life. 6 is hopefulness. So, we might not have achieved exactly what we want, but we feel hopeful. We kind of feel we're moving in the direction of it. Number 5 is optimism. 4 is positive expectation and belief, positive belief. What's really interesting that these are all of these steps on this emotional scale. They are feeling states, but they're actually the feeling states. As I said, your feelings your feelings are created by your chronic thinking. Okay, so you're constantly expecting positive stuff for you. That leads to happiness once you make that connection. So when you're constantly positively focused in the direction of what you want, you're going to feel good all the time. Whereas if you're negatively focused on what you want, you don't believe you can achieve it, you're going to feel bad. Okay, so as we move out of the top 7, there's boredom. Actually, sorry, before we move down. If you look, so number 2 is passion. How many of you have felt passionate? Passion is really, it's like petrol, the more happier we are, the more we're energized, and energy is the petrol to success. Okay, if you look at anyone that's successful in the world, they aren't burnt out and miserable. They're fired with excitement, with love for life. And people can say, yeah, well, of course they are. They're achieving, they're succeeding. But once you realize they had that energy, that same energy, before they were succeeding, before they were achieving, then you realize, okay, so to be successful in life, the big indicator of that you're moving towards success is energy, is feeling, is positive feeling. So ultimately, if you're stressed, it's an indicator you're not moving in a direction of success. So as we come out of the top 7, then we move down, and it's almost from 8 downwards is where we disconnect from happiness, from our positive energy. And it goes to boredom, pessimism, frustration, irritation, impatience, overwhelmment. One of you mentioned being overwhelmed earlier on. That stresses you out. And as we move down, so there's doubt, worry, blame, discouragement, anger. Angers as you're moving towards the bottom, hatred and rage. As you're moving towards the bottom, think it's almost like there's a huge indicator that what you're thinking, what your chronic emotional state. Remember, your emotional state is an indicator of your chronic thinking. What I should state on this as well is actually that our lives are multifaceted, so you're not going to be in one emotional state for every aspect of your life. Some of you could be really optimistic about your financial circumstances, So you'll be higher on this scale regards to finances, but say your work, your relationship with your work, or your thoughts around your work, or your thoughts about your personal relationships could be lower. So you could be angry or worried about your personal relations, but sort of happy regards to financial circumstances, and vice versa. Does that make sense? But as we move down the scale, it's almost like the pain gets worse and worse and worse. And the pain, the emotional pain, is an indicator basically that you're thinking wrong. And once you make that once you become conscious of that, this is when you can start managing your mind to stop feeling so stressed and deactivated and in negative emotion for a long periods of your life. As we move down, so anger's when people get into trouble, and it's almost like they're holding themselves into a worldview with chronic thinking that doesn't work for them. If you look at number 22, it's powerlessness. So you're moving in the direction of powerlessness, where number one, if we go back to number one, is you're feeling empowered. So the higher up the scale you go, the more optimistic about life working out for you, even if you haven't got evidence of this, but you're just thinking in a more optimistic direction, a more hopeful direction. You're going to instantly feel better, okay, once you practice that. But the more you disempower yourself mentally, the more pain you experience. And anger is when people lash out, in number 17 there, or 18, revenge, 19, hatred and rage. That's when people get into fights and they get arrested. Life can get worse and worse and worse the more you drop down the scale. And so, yeah, and number 22 is depression, despair, powerlessness. I've been there. It hurts. This place hurts. But when you're unconscious of this scale, you can just think, well, this is life. This is just what life is, and I'm stuck here. You're not stuck here and this is what I'm going to teach you tonight. By doing what I tell you, and I'll go into detail on this in a moment, you can start to climb this emotional scale, which gives you more life back, gives you more energy, takes you in the direction of happiness. And the more you're climbing the scale and moving in the direction of happiness, the less stressful your life is. How exciting does that sound? So your job is to start consciously managing your thinking, your mental focus, to manage how you feel. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. I love Star Wars. Star Wars is very much emotional intelligence, isn't it? Yoda versus Darth Vader, the good side of the Force, which is light, love, happiness, versus the dark side of the Force, anger. Give into your anger, your hatred. But your focus determines your reality. If you focus on the junk of life, your life will be junk. Whereas if you focus on what you love in life, your life will be one of love. Again, it's becoming conscious of that. I would say here, I love television. My background is a TV producer. I think most television is junk. It's so unbelievably negative. It's basically telling us life is crap. Here's the evidence. And I don't believe that. So I would say, to start managing your focus, start managing what you're allowing to create and shape your worldview. Start being conscious of what you're allowing to bring into your life, your influences. Start being conscious of whether they're actually working for you or not, whether they're making you feel good or not, whether they're making you feel optimistic about the world or not. My experience, television, the media doesn't. Certainly the last 2 years, switch it off. Okay, that's just my opinion. So you start to climb the emotional scale. That as you start to climb the emotional scale, thinking in a more optimistic, hopeful, loving perspective of the world and life and your chances in the world, and a more loving perspective of yourself, you will find yourself bringing more energy and love into your life. And as I've said, this is what is the indicator of success and the direction you're moving, and the evidence that you're moving in the direction of success. So do you ignore reality? This is what some people are asked, because they're constantly told, be realistic, face reality. Absolutely yes. If you think anyone who achieved, it's, whether it's Walt Disney, say Madonna, Ronaldo, all the great achievers in the world, They all had a dream that did not exist at their point in time, but they focused and fixated and believed in the dream. And I'll go into more detail on how to do this in a bit. And that's what leads to them being where they are. Obviously, the dream, if it's a positive dream, it excites them. Excitement is high on the emotional scales, and passion is number 2. It is about, it's energizing those thoughts of what you want. And once you believe in what you want for yourself, you just take the emotional positive hit straight away. And the big thing is the body always follows the mind. They teach this stuff to Olympic gold medalists or those that are aiming to win gold. So many people think that these Olympic swimmers and these Olympic runners and cyclists, they're just doing training on the track. No, they're not. A lot of their work, 50% of their work, is positive visualization. It's training the brain, because they know the body follows the mind. And when you get the brain to focus on the result that you want, so them winning the race, them getting gold at the Olympics, they know the body will follow. The more they believe they can achieve, the more chance they've got of achieving. And what the Abraham-Hicks stuff says, the person that is most expectant of a positive outcome gets the positive outcome. So you could say the Hollywood actor that wins the Oscar is expecting to win the Oscar. We're not told this stuff, so this could seem quite radical. But yeah, so should you ignore reality? Absolutely yes. If you're dreaming big, Donald Trump says this: if you're going to dream big. Look what he's achieved. The world hates him. I'm very suspicious about that. Why do they hate him? But if you think that, he's saying, believe in your dreams. This is what all the Hollywood films tell us, isn't it? Believe in your dreams, follow your heart. I can't think what film says that, but I know it's not Star Wars, but but yeah, we're told this stuff and we think it's fairy tales, but these stories are like the nuggets of life, of how to live successfully. So believe in what brings you joy. Believe in the dream if it excites you. Don't necessarily just face your reality. I'll go into more detail on this in a moment, so don't worry. Okay, so let's look at underlying stress factors. So what is driving your stress? What's making you be stressed out? So your beliefs, it's thoughts that you keep thinking. These can be changed. Most people, as I've said, are unconscious of their beliefs. And most of those beliefs, most of the thinking is against, it's in the direction of not what they want. Your perception of life and the world around you, again, your beliefs, your worldview of the world is one that is against you rather than serving you. Your level of self-worth, this is a big one, because the one person you go through the whole of your life with is you. Your level of self-worth determines, again, what you think your chances are of succeeding in the world. Again, that's just a belief. It's just thoughts that you keep thinking. But at the moment, they're not serving you rather than serving you. And don't blame yourself for this, because all of this has come from social programming. And we live in an extremely negative environment, one that I think is purposely, by the powers that be, has been designed to be negative, to disempower the masses. And what it's been doing, it's been unconsciously influencing your worldview and your view of your chances of success so far. But following the information in this workshop, you can start changing this for yourself and override all this. So all stress is about a lack of emotional intelligence. You've not identified the relationship between what you're thinking and your emotional state. Hopefully I'll clarify this tonight. I will do. And also a powerless relationship with yourself. You've been thinking yourself out of your power unconsciously, not your fault. You've been thinking yourself out of your power rather than into your power. I'm going to teach you how to activate your power tonight. How's this sound? Let me know. Do interact with me. So this is a biggie, okay, and this is only Abraham-Hicks talks about this. Again, this is where the spiritual stuff is so important and a foundation to success in life. And if you think, the spiritual stuff is, it's that religious stuff, blah, blah, blah. This stuff is said in religious texts, but I'm not religious whatsoever. But it's basically acknowledging human psychology. Okay, and you will know this, and we're gonna do an exercise to prove this this evening. So in every moment of your life, you're firing off what you could say a rocket of desire, of improvement. Okay, so say you go to the cash point, put in your card, type in your PIN, and you've got zero balance. In that crisis moment, you fire off an unconscious, maybe, rocket of desire into your future, that you never want to be poor again. You want to be rich. You want to be successful. You want to have financial security. It could be the same with your job situation. You know, you could get to work, say, tomorrow, and you're told there's redundancies in your office. Some people are going to be made redundant, and that fear of losing your financial stability and potential, your house and everything else, your life as you know it at the moment, is under threat. At that moment, you fire a rocket of what should we say? A rocket of it wanted improvement into your future, saying, I want to be secure. I want to have a stable basis. I never want to worry about this kind of stuff again. Okay, we call that rocket of desire. Would you believe? What are you understanding this? Let me know in the comments. Are you understanding what I'm saying here? Okay. So to feel good and eliminate stress, you have to go with all of these rocket of desires. And I know this because my 15 years of chronic fatigue, I didn't energy rip. That's what the fatigue is all about. So if you're faced with no money in your bank balance, straight away you might panic and you feel that the stress of no. But if in that moment in time, the stress, the panic is telling you you're thinking wrong, that, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of this, my life's going to hit the fan, and game over. That's not what you want. You fired out, you want improvement, you want you want financial security, you want lots of money to feel good, and you've got no option because it's keeping up with your expansion, Abraham-Hicks calls it. So you're here physically, you fire off into your future, an energetic future version of you. You have to go with that improved, that optimistic, that hopeful version of you, or you're never going to feel good. So the moment you're optimistic that I can get money, I'm going to be, I'm going to be okay, I know I can get out of this. As soon as you talk yourself into the direction of what you want, you eliminate stress, because you've gone with the expansion. All of stress is about you all asking for something you don't think you can achieve it. Tell me if this makes sense. If everything that's stressing you out, some of you said money, work, getting old, not losing any weight. Let's go with the weight thing. Leah, do you think you can't lose weight? Is that what it is? You think, I want to lose weight, can't do it. That is what's causing stress. Every stress is all caused by you wanting an outcome, you thinking you can't do it. So your work is, and I'm going to go to all detail on this tonight on how to do this, make this habitual for you. You have to expect the best. You have to be optimistic. You have to go to the top of the emotional scale, or think in the direction of the top of the scale, which is empowerment, rather than the bottom of the scale, which is disempowerment and depression. So whatever your dream is, tell yourself you can achieve it. Remember, this is what gold medalists do. Half of their training is mental. They're visualizing achieving before they've even run the race, but they're mentally talking themselves into everything they want. This is how you eliminate stress from your life. As I said, most people do the opposite. You're asked to do something at work. Can you do this project? I can't do it. If you just talk yourself into it, of course I can do this. I've been in this situation before. I can do it. You eliminate stress. You just soothe. You find the thoughts that soothe you rather than the thoughts that cripple you. And it is that stress is the indicator you're not doing this. Does that make sense? So this is Abraham-Hicks. Let's see what they say. It is natural that by knowing what you do not want, that you are able to clarify what you do want. And there is nothing wrong with identifying a problem before beginning to look for a solution. But many people over time become problem oriented rather than solution oriented. And in their examination and explanation of the problem, they continue the perpetuation of the problem. This is teaching you law of attraction. Those of you that know law of attraction, that which is like unto itself is drawn. So you need to tell the story that you want to live, and you will eventually live it. So again, this is defy reality. Your current reality is only telling you where you are now. Doesn't mean you need to be locked in here forever. Someone's asking a question. This is brilliant. So let's ask this. Nahid, thanks for coming on, Nahid. So can I ask a question? You sound very intelligent. Have you left your hairstyle like this in the video on purpose? So I did gel it early on. I did gel it early on, and it just looked a bit flat. So this is my kind of my personality. I feel more me when I'm a bit more wacky. But thank you. I would like to say I'm intelligent, but yeah, I quite like my hair as it is. I constantly play with my hair. I had the same haircut for about 30 years of my life until a friend pointed it out. So I've been kind of experimenting with it ever since. But thank you for that question. So as I said earlier on, our human psyche is about goal setting. We are goal focused creatures, and when we have a goal, when we have a desire and we go with it, we're going to feel good, and that feeling good is an indicator that we're moving in the direction of achieving it, of it manifesting and becoming our future reality. When we don't go with it, that creates stress. That shows we're not going with what we want. Abraham says this: the reason for desires, goals, for finding those decisions or points of focus, is because they are the life-giving things of the universe. Without objects of attention or objects of desire, life force does not come through any of us. If you take this to a bigger perspective, a lot of religions, actually, I know Scientology says this, and other religions, they say that we're creators. We're creating, we're helping expand the universe. This is just my perspective on this, but I kind of think, the God force, whatever, the big guru that's created the universe, I think to accelerate the expansion of the universe, instead of them being just one great creator, they fragmented themselves into millions of tiny minds that are then creating for themselves, and that's rapidly expanding the expansion of the universe. So it's like so it's almost like the God force is a giant mind that split itself into millions of tiny minds, and they're all doing the work. And so whenever and if you think everything that we want in life, it's for our own improvement. We don't desire anything that's going to not benefit us. So if we're desiring more money, it's because we think we're going to be able to do more. If you think we're going to have if we desire a relationship or a partner, it's because we think they're going to bring us more happiness. Everything we want is for the benefit of making us feel good. And if you just focus on what makes you feel good, you'll never be stressed. But most people ask for something, then deny it mentally. That creates stress. That's the energetic rip that happens. Yeah, the very purpose of your existence is to fulfill your dreams and desires. I said I had chronic fatigue. Big part of my chronic fatigue was that I dreamt big. I wanted big stuff for myself. I killed those dreams. I didn't think I would ever achieve them. If you kill, I think this is a future site. If you kill your dreams, you kill a big part of yourself. So go with your desires. This is going back to, remember how I said I'm going to tell you how to think, but not what to think. You can desire anything that you want to. You don't need to explain it to anyone, but you just need to make sure you think and feed those dreams. Just talk yourself into achieving them mentally. It's all mental, this stuff. You don't need to tell anyone, but you just need to be, when you're laying in bed at night, just get excited about your positive future of you achieving your dreams. Even if there's no evidence of it happening right now and you've no idea how you're going to achieve it. Law of attraction says everything in the universe is energy. All energy has a frequency. When a like energy attracts like, so if you think your dream has a frequency, it's normally a higher frequency because it's going to improve, so it's higher than you currently are, if you can raise your energy, once you match the frequency of your dream, bang, it has to manifest and come into your reality, and you live it. And I've achieved a lot of dreams. I achieved dreams before I knew of this stuff, when I was happy. What's the Afnan, how to keep this good spirit after achieving our dreams. Right, what you're going to find, we're constantly goal setting. So you must know that you might have dreamed of doing something and you've achieved it. As soon as you've achieved it, it's fulfilling only momentarily, and then you fire off another rocket of improvement. So we're constantly giving ourselves more things to dream of, more things to move towards. That's what our whole purpose of life is about. We're expanding the universe. So I ask this: what is stopping you believing that you can achieve your dreams? Do you want to answer this? Type this in the chat. This will be interesting. What is it? What is it? Is it other people? Society? School reports? What someone said years ago? It's all of this is about the beliefs that you've been practicing today. Okay, and remember, beliefs are just thoughts that you keep thinking about yourself, about your chances in the world, about what the world can offer you. So we've got answers coming through now. Surrounding circumstances. Yep. We've got health. Yep. Thanks for sharing that. A lot of people say that. Myself. Yeah. Your relationship with yourself. That was a big problem for me. Okay. Next month, I'm doing another one of these next months about how to love yourself more. If you go to the meetup, you can see how to sign up for that on my website. But yeah, I think ultimately the one person we're going through life with is ourselves, isn't it? So, and if you've got, you know, I had issues, experiences at the beginning of my life that made me really, and I'd say I was unconscious. It made me unconsciously not like myself. So for me to get happy and for me to be able to teach this stuff, I had to do a lot of work on myself. So certainly the relationship, and actually they do say when you start really loving yourself, again, love is number one at the emotional scale, everything else falls into place. Because when you're feeling better about yourself, again, feeling, that word, feeling is always the indicator. When you're feeling better about yourself, you feel better about the world. Everything changes. And yeah, continuous desire to achieve. Yeah, do you know what, Nahid? As long as you just mentally talk yourself into knowing you can achieve these things, you will achieve. You must know the subjects that you enjoyed most at school. How were they effortless? You know, if you were good at maths, were you effortlessly good at maths? Of course you were. It was joy. You found joy in those subjects. Joy is always the indicator. Feeling good is always the indicator of success. You know, did you enjoy doing the exams on those subjects? Did you ever tell yourself you couldn't do those topics? Of course you didn't. That's what creates the joy in the first place. You were asked to do a subject, you went with your belief that you could do it. It's just smooth. The journey is smooth. When say you know, you're asked to do, I don't know, the same maths. A lot of people struggle with maths. I certainly did at school. If you're asked to do maths, but you tell yourself you're not very good at maths, it becomes, you've got that energy split. You don't enjoy maths because of the energy split. You're talking yourself out of achieving maths. It's hard. Life becomes hard when we talk ourselves out of what we need to do. And what's interesting, if you think, you know, we're talking big topics here, big ambitions or whatever, but most of our lives on a day-to-day basis are quite micro, aren't they? They're just like, you know, you got to do the washing up, or you got to hoover or dust the living room or whatever. Talk yourself, and you know, if you don't want to do those things, it goes, I'm stressed, I've got to clean the house, I don't want to do it, I'm stressed. Before you take any action, talk yourself into doing it. Just say, I can do this, it won't take me long. I do that. I always have every day I have a list of things to do, and sometimes you can think, oh God, I don't really want to do the first thing on the list, and then you actually, the way I get around to doing it, but it won't take long, it's going to be easy. You know, I'll get it done in 5 minutes. Talk yourself into it. You just start to achieve effortlessly, and before you know, you've done it. And just talk yourself into everything from this moment onwards on a mental level. I can do this. It's possible. I've faced obstacles like this before. What am I, and I've achieved? What am I getting so het up about? Just be kind to yourself. Be kind and your best friend to yourself on a mental level. It makes a huge difference. This is interesting. Most people are a construct of other people's limiting beliefs, which are only overcome when they don't work for you. And they do say a lot of people have a kind of a nervous breakdown around their mid-30s or 40s. And that can really work for you, because it's almost like when you're a child, you're a construct of what your parents think of you, what your peers think of you, what your teachers, you're a young child, fresh to the world. You're totally believing in the opinions of all these adults. If these adults aren't the most happiest people, they aren't going to have a happy perspective of you. Okay, so they might make critical judgments on you that, oh, you're never going to succeed. You're hard work, you're difficult. And you grow up with those beliefs from someone given to you by someone else, and that becomes your sense of identity. You can live with that for so many years, and then the pain of you struggling ultimately against yourself results in you having a breakdown. The good thing about a breakdown, it's an indicator that you have to consciously rebuild yourself. And if you can consciously rebuild yourself with a new perspective, a positive perspective and worldview of yourself and the world that works for you. And I say this because this was my experience in my mid-30s. This is where I started learning this stuff, applying this stuff, teaching this stuff. You could just start coasting through life. You start to achieve so much effortlessly. Life becomes effortless. You enjoy life so much more rather than it being a struggle. And it's because you're not fighting your mind. You're just talking yourself into everything that you want. The most important question any human being can ask themselves is this a friendly universe? Einstein asked this. What's your immediate reaction to this? Because when I saw that question, I was like, hell no. And then you think, you can't function successfully if you don't believe that you're in a friendly universe. Again, you're thinking the world is against you. But then ask yourself, where have you got that perspective? Is it the media? Hello, yes, of course it is. All the movies, the TV, the newspapers. We're being bombarded with negativity. Whereas when you look at your immediate surrounding reality, you're going to find the world is kind to you. Your neighbors are friendly. That, you can, I don't know, you can maybe, you might need help and you can quickly get it. This nasty EastEnders Albert Square kind of reality is not what most of us are living in. It is a kind world. It's, this is the Abraham-Hicks stuff. I don't go into it much detail with this workshop, but we live in a world of well-being. Top of the scale is love. This is a universe of love. And once you realize that and believe that, you can start moving with love. So to eradicate stress, you must change your thoughts and beliefs. So how do you do this? This is linking the thought with a feeling. You consciously find thoughts that feel good to you. And those thoughts can be whatever you want them to be, just as long as you're getting the positive hit of emotion when you think them. And we'll do an exercise in a moment. So you need to learn to focus your mind in the direction of what you want in life, not what you don't want. Again, the stress is always created when you focus on what you don't want. When you focus your mind in the direction of what you do want, you just feel good. This takes practice. This is continual. Abraham-Hicks says this is, all of this work, it's continual. It's not like a college degree where as soon as you've got it for life. You have to keep doing this. Your energy alignment is something that you have to keep working on every day. So you mentally talk yourself into everything you want. This gives you energy. The most energized people, the most successful people believe that they can achieve. Most people don't. They're stressed out. They're leading not very happy, not very productive lives. Okay, so it's all about thinking up the emotional scale. If we go back to the top of the emotional scale, it's being enthusiastic before you've achieved, being eager, having positive expectation or belief about your chances in the world. Optimism, if you look at optimism, is a feeling, it's not just a word. Being hopeful is a feeling. You feel the connection, you feel the energy, the drive. Being contented, go to number 8. When you're bored, you're bored because you're feeling it. When you're passionate because you're feeling it. So it's about making the difference, feeling the difference. Like, okay, this thought, my thinking could have more power right now. I'm not totally primed into what I need to be thinking to achieve. And what the Abraham-Hicks stuff says, if you can focus on a thought for 17 seconds or more without it jumping around, that is when it starts to activate emotion. And the more you can hold that thought, the more momentum of emotion builds behind it. And if you keep thinking those kind of thoughts, or thoughts that feel good to you, you're going to get a momentum of energy coming. That's going to change your life. You cannot change the past, but you can consciously change your perspective of the past to a better feeling one that empowers you. This is almost an entirely different workshop, but yeah, everyone has some kind of trauma in the past, and that can haunt you. You can try and deny it, bury it, and you can't. You have to face your demons. But if you can't change the past. Some people have been through horrendous stuff, but most people are kind, most people are sensitive, most people are caring. And in my experience, the people that have had a lot of trauma in the past are the most kind and caring. And if you took away the trauma, they would not be as kind and caring as they are. So it's almost like the pain makes the beauty, if that makes. So become aware of that. Become aware of your power, that maybe your pain has created your power, and don't deny that pain. Just find. Oprah Winfrey's done this, hasn't she? She had the most horrendous past, rape, abuse, etc. But without a doubt, without that early experience, she would not be who she is now, and she's been able to empower loads of people. You can do the same. The solution is find thoughts that feel good to you, because they contain positive energy. The more energy gives you more life. You start to feel much more alive. So the game changer is looking for positive emotion all the time. It's all like most people are, we've been told to think positive. If you can change that and look to feel positive, look for positive feeling. The power is in the feeling, the emotion behind the thought, not the thought itself. And if you can think in the direction of love, and the difference, there's that fork in the road. Stress, negativity hurts. You disconnect, it feels empty. With love, there's exhilaration, there's power, there's warmth. The difference. It's indistinguishable. We're doing a visualization exercise now to demonstrate this. So check in first of all with how you're feeling. Okay. Hopefully you've been focused on positivity for about an hour now, haven't you? So you should hopefully be feeling okay. But we do the reverse of this. Okay. So visualize yourself, mentally visualize yourself failing to achieve a big dream. Okay, if you can be really micro focused with this. So feel, if you can see, hear, smell, and get a sense of how it would feel touching this failure. Play that negative mind movie over in your mind now for 2 minutes. Okay, I'll leave you to do this for 2 minutes. Play the negative of you failing and see how that feels. Okay, I'll leave it there. That wasn't 2 minutes, but how do you feel? Put in the chat how that makes you feel. Do you feel the power? Do you feel any power in that thought, or does it leave you feeling flat? If you could share your experience in the comments, that'd be good. I've never done it this way before, actually. I normally go on to the next stage. But yeah, I just thought I'd try this with this. So let me know, was there any, how has that left you feeling? It's all about the feeling. If you've never done this kind of prolonged mental focus before, a visualization focus, maybe your mind was jumping around. We got some comments through. Yeah, okay. Let's see what your comments are. So Rota said sad. Yeah, disconnect. Nahid, even just the start of it was crap. Yeah, there's no power. So you're experiencing this. Disappointed, depressed, feeling like punished. Yeah, there's no power in this. You never want to go here again, do you? So yeah, let's do the reverse then. Okay, this is going to get you feeling good, hopefully. So visualize yourself achieving a big dream. Again, this is all about, I teach acting as well, and how to trigger emotion in yourself, which is what actors need to be authentic, is to be specific in their mental visualization. So be specific on what you're seeing when you play these mind movies, what you hear, what you smell, and what you touch. So think of a big dream, you know, and as I said, we've all got big dreams, desires, something that you've wanted for yourself for years. You know, it could be relationship, could be a career ambition. Play that movie now. Don't try and work out how you're going to achieve it. That's not your work. Just play the mind movie of you achieving it. You know, if you want to be a successful actor, for example, visualize yourself being nominated and being your name called out as the best, you know, Oscar-winning actor for that year. So, you know, if you want a relationship, visualize yourself getting married. Okay, so I'll leave you 2 minutes to do this, okay? And let's see how this feels. Over to you. Okay, share in the chat how that made you feel. Did you find the power of that focus? Did you feel the hit of the positive emotion? Can't wait to see your comments. Proud, brilliant. Okay, thank you, Voti, for that. Yeah. Happy, thank you, Nahid. Yeah. So can you see that just, you haven't changed any circumstances. You haven't changed room, or you haven't, gone out and bought something. All you've done is change your mental focus, and be conscious of that. You focused in your mind in the direction of what you want. Whenever you, Ahmed said, the whole world seemed colorful. Absolutely. When I was depressed, focused for 15 years on what I didn't want, killed my dreams, my life just went grey. But when you focus your mind in the direction of what you want, you instantly feel that energy hit. And what this law of attraction, Abraham philosophy says, the fact our feelings are our sixth sense, and the fact you can feel it positively shows that your dream exists and you're moving in the direction of it. As long as you continue to believe and think in the direction of what you want, you will move towards it. If you can do this with every aspect of your life, I promise you, it may take practice to begin with, you'll never be stressed again. Since I've been living this philosophy now for about 13 years, I'm never stressed. I'm never stressed, because I know as soon as I feel negative emotion, I don't want to feel that. It hurts too much, and I just change. Whereas I lived with negativity for 15 years, it doesn't need to be your life, and it's so exhilarating, and you start to enjoy the moment. It's almost like you change your emotional state. You can cope. You can suddenly start to cope, and because you're believing, you're thinking in the direction of what you want. That's the work. Brilliant. You've experienced how to do this now. You can do this all the time now. Just be conscious of this, because your emotions are everything. When you focus mentally on what you want, and you don't doubt it, you feel good. You are flowing mental energy towards what you want in life. That's the key to all of this. Positive emotion changes the brain. Remember, I said what I said about the Olympic Olympic medalists in training. The body follows the mind always. The more you do this towards the subjects of what you desire, you'll just find that you'll just effortlessly start achieving. Just don't counter the desire with negative thinking. Don't talk yourself out of it. Talk yourself into everything you want. So practice thinking positive about everything. Become future focused and optimistic. Okay, there's huge energy in being optimistic about your future. Abraham-Hicks says that, the present was once the future. All of our potential, all of our energy is in the future. It's not in the now. It's almost like the now is used chewing gum, whereas the exhilaration, and you've just proved this because you just sort of focused in the future, the flavor, the potential, the amazement is in the future. We've got constant motion forward, and once you allow yourself to do that, you're going to feel good. And let's have a look. We've got a question here. What about if there is something you wanted to do and now you have an opportunity, but you want something different, which is not productive? How do you cope with that? Okay, so if I talk yourself into it, that how is that not productive? What if you think, Naheed, what if you can tell yourself you can have both? Just talk yourself into it. Whatever the logic is for you, I could do both. Why not? The universe is going to bring me whatever I want, whatever I need. Everything is temporary. So, if it's a career, maybe a career option, it doesn't need to be forever. So if maybe the way to get in the big dream is to do the smaller dream for a while. Once you do this work and you're optimistic, you realize life starts to work out for you. You never need to stress. Most of our stress is when you don't trust life, which is really saying you don't trust yourself. You don't trust your chances in the world. Does that make sense? Do let me know. Yeah, faith and fear both demand you believe in something you cannot see. You choose. Bob Proctor, he's no longer with us, but so faith is about, and fear, both of them are kind of fictions, aren't they? Why invest in the one that hurts you? Why not invest mentally in the one that empowers you? But when you're conscious of this, you can start doing that and focusing in the direction of what you want. I would say, I said I had chronic fatigue at the start of this. I think most of the world is suffering from chronic fatigue. The cause of all depression is mental powerlessness. Most people, so many people are walking around saying they're stressed. I'm stressed. I can't do this. They're just thinking, their default is, I can't do this. I need to do this. I can't do it. Once you get a handle on this, once you start to practice positive thinking, what they've realized as well in modern science, where they've been attaching all those electrodes to people, thought patterns are electromagnetic. You get more of whatever you think about. This is how people become depressed, because they can start thinking mildly negative, oh, this won't work for me. And if you don't change that thought, I say within 20 seconds, I think it's 17 to 20 seconds, you attract another thought of that frequency. And so it builds the momentum of negativity. And as you know, the more you go down the scale, the more it hurts. So this is my experience. People end up in depression, powerlessness. They didn't even know how it started. What they didn't do was counter the thought when it started to hurt them initially. Again, they might have been facing reality. I'm skint today. I'm never going to ever achieve riches. So they just continued a mental focus of perpetual doom, rather than countering that with one of optimism and thinking up the scale. A chronic focus on what you don't want or what is, rather than what can be, and being unconscious of the importance of your mental focus, is what is the cause of all depression, all powerlessness. So remember, your current reality is the bouncing off place. It's not your entire life is not going to be what currently is. So many multimillionaires have been bankrupt. You hear that all the time. You hear about so many people that encountered failure after failure and then achieved success. Is it Edison and the light bulb? Is it 1,024 times or something like that? People say he failed 1,024 times. He says no, he found 1,024 ways of not to achieve what he wanted. So he saw every failure as a movement forward. Walt Disney, I think, went bankrupt about 3 times before he achieved success. So it's about belief. It's all about, projecting positively into the future and ignoring what is. That's what hope is, isn't it? When you go to bed at night, being hopeful about your future prospects rather than regretful or scared, then it's empowering. Let's have a look at how to be emotionally intelligent and stop bad thoughts when they start. As soon as you feel negative emotion, the negative emotion is always you're focused on what you don't want. So what you don't want, immediately find a perspective that is less painful than that. So find a thought. It's ultimately the work to do is find thoughts that feel good to you. The more you practice that, the more they become your default, and you'll never ever go that far down the scale again. Okay, this stuff is so empowering, and all the work is mental. So how do you eliminate stress from your life? This is a big question of this workshop. Yeah, so when you next feel stress, don't fight it. Just acknowledge it, embrace it, and recognize that it's an indicator that you're mentally focused on something that you don't want. This is where you currently are. This is where you currently are on the emotional scale. Okay, so Afnan, this is kind of answering your question. When you aren't so overpowered on the topic, when you aren't feeling so stressed about what you're thinking about, practice mentally finding a better feeling perspective. It's all about the mental perspective. It's not taking action. The action follows after. Okay, once you find a thought that feels better, you start neutralizing the negative energy that you have within you on that topic. The more you keep doing this and finding a perspective that feels empowering, that feels good to you, it's going to help you climb the emotional scale on that topic. Does that make sense? Okay, over time, how do you eliminate stress from your life? You find a vision of the world that feels good to you, that brings you joy, and you practice it. You talk yourself into it with your thoughts and your words. Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you, Afnan. What you're going to find, you're going to, people that once you start doing this work and you start changing your own perspective of the world, you won't tolerate, not in a negative way, but you just won't start tolerating people that are so negative, because you realize is what they're saying is just their powerless perspective. there's not necessarily any truth to what they're saying. They think it's true because it's their perspective. And this is where everyone is living their own individual existence on the planet. No, there's no one default reality for everyone. It's about how we've calibrated our minds to see in the world, and it's our chronic thinking has created our beliefs that then become our default thoughts. And what I'm teaching you here with finding thoughts that feel good, you're recalibrating your thinking so that your beliefs become better feeling to you, and those better feeling ones are always more empowering to you. When you start this work, don't focus on specifics. Okay, so it might be that I've got no money at the moment. I've got to find a solution tomorrow. Go general on this. Don't try and work out the specific solution straight away. Go general. Just talk yourself generally into this. But other people have been where I am. Other people have got out of this. I've been in similar situations like this before. I've got out of it. Just find ease. It's finding the emotion. The emotional state is the indicator of whether you're on the right track or not, and your action will follow. And over time with practice, this will become your default. Okay, how do you know you're focusing right? You feel good all the time. Okay, procrastinator. This is it. There's loads of clips on YouTube from, if you type in Abraham-Hicks procrastination, as long as you're feeling good, you're doing the work, and I can guarantee you're not procrastinating. You just haven't taken action. So maybe you've got to write an essay, or you've got to do some project or whatever. So much of the work that we have to do is thought work. And I write TV scripts, and so much of that process is thinking and sort of playing it out in your mind. And sometimes I think, I'm not doing much writing work. I need to be, I need to sit down and do stuff. But I've learned that no, it's so much of the work is the thinking work. Once you've done the thinking work and you've built up a momentum, and you're feeling good, you're feeling excited about doing that project, bang, when it's right, you just sit down and you will write the project or do the work. So as long as you're feeling good, there's no such thing as procrastinating. You will find yourself effortlessly achieving stuff. Like I said, I write a to-do list every day. I talk myself into it. I do it. You do it very quickly and very effortlessly. And this is when you realize that, stuff that you've been doing before that was hard work is because you had split energy. You had to do it. You didn't really want to do it. You were telling yourself why not to do it. There's procrastination is just that there's not enough energy alignment for you to do it. If you always focus on what feels good, you'll just end up effortlessly achieving, I promise you. Shouldn't I be realistic? So many people will tell you this. Consciousness is an interpretation. As I said, we've all got our own perspective of the world. No one person's view of the world is the same as everyone else's. You choose your viewpoint of the world. Never be realistic. What has happened to so many people, and this is what, partly the mental health epidemic that's happening at the moment, people's thinking has been hijacked. They're watching all these movies of doom and gloom. They're watching the news. They're reading the papers. Look at the television news. It never tells you positive news. Look at the newspapers. It never tells you anything positive. So you have to find that yourself, okay? Don't let your thinking ever be hijacked again, because this is what's happened to the mass majority. So the thoughts that get you buzzing, because this is all about finding thoughts that make you feel good and that get you leaning in the direction of the top of the emotional scale, are thoughts of optimism. Get excited, get hopeful, get enthusiastic about achieving your dreams, get excited. All of these are you thinking in the direction of what you desire, and most importantly, you believing that you can achieve these desires. To feel good and stress-free, you've got to be up to speed with your dreams and desires, believing in them, expecting them. Remember the rocket of desire. You ask for more money, you have to go with it. If you don't, energy rip. It's about trusting in the good feeling, positive love energy, allowing it to consume you. That's what it's all about. Never squash your dreams and desires. This is what I mentioned earlier. You kill your dreams, you kill yourself energetically. Some of you might have been doing that without realizing. That's what all stress is. Allow yourself to feel the excitement of the future. Don't face reality. Charlie Chaplin says, we think too much and feel too little. Switch that. Allow yourself to feel a lot more. Find the thoughts that feel good. That's the work of this. So in any moment, there's always that fork in the road. Positive or negative, good or bad feeling. Just be conscious of that. As soon as you feel, if you've been, probably before this workshop, your default is the negative. So you aren't just going to be able to switch off on this and immediately feel good. You're going to still have a momentum of negative going on. But as soon as you realize you're thinking negatively, remember this, fork in the road, and flip it to a perspective, mental perspective that feels good. That's the work. And then the more you go in that direction, the positive direction, over time, that will become your default. So train yourself to think positive, but remember, it's not positive thinking, it's positive feeling. Mentally talk yourself into what you want with everything. Practice positive expectation. Think of this when you, and again, some people say this is pie in the sky stuff, but once you get a momentum going with this, once this becomes your default, you just find yourself, you might apply for jobs and you just get a second interview without even thinking of it. Whereas it's once you apply and think, oh no, I'm going to be rubbish. You're killing the dream. Whereas if you talk yourself into, yeah, I reckon I did all right. I think I could do this job. You're just, but again, it's the feeling. Practice positive expectation for everything. Visualize a positive outcome for everything. It takes 28 days to create a new habit. So it's all about repetition. We're recalibrating the brain. Give this stuff time, but keep doing this. Okay. Thoughts are magnetic. I've said that. You get more of what you think about. So to conclude, we're near the end now. This is about making your internal life more important than the external. So many of us are told to be slaves to the world around us. Make a 180-degree shift so you make your internal state, what you're thinking, and most importantly, what you're feeling, make that your dominant focus, and you'll find the world outside of you changes. Remember, everything is energy. Everything in the universe is energy. It's all about frequency. Once you raise your internal frequency, the outside world shifts to match that. It has to. That is how people achieve success. You need to water yourself regularly with positivity, but your water is feel-good energy. That's what all this is about. Find thoughts that feel good. Recharge yourself as much as you charge your phone. Okay, so many people are neglecting their own internal energy states. Make that your focus. Am I feeling good? If not, find thoughts that feel good. And if you're struggling to find a thought that feels good straight away, watch a TV show that you enjoy. Start focusing on joy. Put on music that you enjoy. Read a book that you enjoy. Because it's almost like you're just zoning out. But as long as you're zoning out to something that brings you joy, you are working on your energy in a positive way. If you turn on the news, so many people use the television to zone out. They're absorbing negativity, and over time, unconsciously, that becomes a bombardment of that doesn't make them feel good, and then they wonder why they're depressed. Post-traumatic stress. Okay, we've got an Abraham-Hicks clip coming up in a moment, but so some people say about this, it's about becoming conscious of what you're focusing on and finding a good feeling mental perspective. It's all about love. Just focus on love, the positive, what makes you feel better. The best perspective is to accept the past. You can't change it. Love the present, but be excited about the future. Let's listen to an Abraham-Hicks clip now. We're near the end now, but these are her words.
Okay. I have one other question on a different subject. It's called post-traumatic stress. And the best example I can give is we had a significant earthquake in Los Angeles.
So let us...
Oh, sorry.
We are interrupting you. Don't apologize. We want to define post-traumatic stress.
Okay.
Awareness of a situation causes a habit of vibration that lingers long after the experience. It's just a habit of thought that has nothing to do with reality that could attract similar circumstances. In other words, it's just a vibration that is lingering, an unnecessary vibration that is lingering. And your logical mind is what keeps perpetuating that. That's why we like to teach you about the laws of the universe, so that you can use your logic to your advantage instead of to your disadvantage.
Okay, the circumstance the example I was thinking of, there was a significant earthquake, and months after it was over, and you're not thinking about it, it doesn't seem to be affecting your experience, but I was on a train in a roomette where the door hangs, is free hanging, and the train rocked, and it was the middle of the night, and I was asleep in this bunk, and the door went boom, 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 and it immediately brought me back to the earthquake, and I jumped out. And I'm wondering, so when you're saying it's a lingering vibration, I thought is that just instinct that wanted to protect me, or was there something left over from the earthquake that impacted my experience on the train?
Well, there was something left over, and most people after an earthquake or after a negative experience don't do anything about deliberately leaving it in a different place. Your vibration is where you last left it on every subject, unless you do something different about it. So now this is an opportunity to do something about it. This is an opportunity to acknowledge that there is still that fear vibration that is causing the fear lingering, and to do something about it. In the beginning, we told the story that a room full of people might have very different relationships with a train. But if when you were a child, a train ran over your toe and chopped it off, you would have a different relationship with the train than almost anybody else. And so your experiences do tend to seemingly control your vibration about things. But the reason that we say seemingly is because you have to keep practicing the vibration. In other words, the vibration is where you last left it. And so if you just keep repeating what that experience was like, keep talking about what that experience, someone today offered us the best words, renewing the manifestation. If you keep renewing it by talking about it in the same way. But every time you renew an unwanted manifestation, you feel negative emotion, because it's not about what happened then, it's about what you're doing now. And you find disagreement from source right here and now, which means right here and now, where all of your power is, you have another option that you could apply. The question is, are you resourceful enough? Do you want to feel good enough? Are you knowledgeable enough about the laws of the universe to leave it in a different place? And so if it's something that doesn't come up very often, most people don't bother to leave it in a different place. But if it's something that comes up really frequently, we think you would be well to ponder it and leave it in a different place, to smooth the bumps out of it by using the logic and the understanding that you have about the laws of the universe. Everything is about focusing. Creation is about focusing. Focusing can feel good or bad. Focusing can be stimulating or boring. Focusing can have strong momentum or slow momentum. You hold all of the keys to all of that. And we want you to just do enough deliberate focusing that you begin taking pleasure in the focusing of your own mind. We would like you to leave this gathering tomorrow understanding that you create your own reality, but that you don't do it with words, and you don't do it through actions. You do it through thoughts and emotions, by molding them together, by caring about how you feel. You are a cooperative component to so many things that you don't mean to be cooperative components to. And you are not cooperative components to so many things that you do mean to be cooperative components to. And you've just got to sort it out one emotional moment at a time. So when somebody that you love is having a hard time and you're focused upon them, and then you're having a hard time, you've got a decision to make. Is this the best use of my time right now? Is this the way my inner being is focused upon this? Or could I focus upon it, someone used the words today, in a more productive way, in a way that would be more productive, more meaningful, more to my advantage? And the answer to that is always yes. Always yes. And the better you get at it, the more cooperation you elicit from the universe. And the more cooperation you elicit from the universe, the more powerful you feel, the more who you really are you feel, the more authentic you really feel. Until there comes a time where you not only don't fear anything because you feel steady, but you have an eagerness, an invincibility about you, a passion about creation. Esther says from time to time, to herself mostly, as she's pondering different things, I have become a sort of vibrational snob. And what she means by that is there's just so much she no longer cares about thinking about. Whole genres, whole segments of life on planet Earth that used to captivate her because that was the vibrational frequency that she was hanging around in, now don't interest her at all, because the subject matter is of such a lower vibrational frequency that it is not worthy of her attention to it. You see what we're getting at? So as you clean up your vibration more and more, you find yourself wanting and capable of exploring vaster environments and higher horizons and more satisfying experiences. And the cooperative components to all of that flow easily into your experience.
How did that sound? There's some jargon on that clip. Like vibration basically means everything is energy, all energy is vibrating, and the indicator of where we are vibrationally on the emotional scale is our feeling state. So you could say you could replace vibration with emotion. But about 3 minutes 20 into that clip, she said it's all about focus. Are you focused on what you don't want or what you want? That's what hopefully I've conveyed all this work is about. That's how you eliminate stress. We've got a question here from Nahid. Actually, I think that clip may have answered this actually. So if I get this right, if you've been loved a lot by one person but missing from others, but you don't get time to give time to others, how to make a balance? This is going to sound weird, but that clip did kind of answer that. So you don't necessarily know what the other people are feeling, but maybe you're feeling guilty that you're giving your attention and energy to one person and depriving the others. So you're feeling guilty. Guilt is negative emotion. Can you talk yourself into justifying what you're doing, what you've been doing? That they're fine, they know I love them, they don't need my attention all the time, they're resilient individuals. Talk yourself into a place of feeling good about every situation. That's what this work is. You've got no control over other people, but the more you can see them with love, the more you can see people in their power. So you're seeing no one as a victim, but you're knowing that they can do well, that they're enabled to find their own place in this world. Then you're going to feel better. And they do say that people, Abraham says, 'cause it's all about energy matching, people rise to your perspective of them. So you can extract their brilliance by expecting brilliance from them. And it's almost like what she does say, you know, if there's two mountain climbers on a footing, on a narrow ledge, and say one person slips and they're dangling and they need help, the help you want from another human being is someone with a sure foot, a firm foundation to help pull you up. You don't want someone that's hanging themselves off precariously to help you, because they could fall and then you could both be dead. Whereas you want someone that's got a firm, that's in a secure place, firm. They can definitely help you. So if you can make yourself that person, you're going to find the people around you when you're with them will all improve their behavior. But it's about maintaining your energy and changing your perspective of them to one that suits you. Right. Okay. How do we forgive people who caused the trauma in this case? Yeah, this is a biggie. You've got no influence over anyone else. It's almost you have to find the love within you. Can you forgive them? Can you, the trauma, this is a biggie as well. I've been through this. Some could have caused you real pain, but in holding on to that pain and that anger, that's low down the scale. Can you find a better perspective on what they did to you? And that's a big ask in some cases. I don't know the specifics of your circumstances, Afnan, but if you can find more love, moving towards love, forgiveness, acceptance, understanding. You don't know what happened to them. Louise Hay, who I said at the beginning, she runs Hay House she ran Hay House Publishing before she died. She said when a lot of the time people cause us pain, it could be parents or close family relatives or friends or whatever, and you don't know why they did that. And then as soon as you find out what's happened to them and someone's caused them pain and they never got over it, it doesn't explain it, doesn't necessarily justify it, but maybe you understand. I'd say no one in a happy place, no one that's in a place of powerless, that in a place of power and self-love wants to enact pain onto others. It's always people that are in a painful place themselves that have, that are creating pain in others. And we can't change the past, we can't change them, but if we can just learn to forgive them, then strangers that, I know when I had my chronic fatigue, I was fixated on the past, regretful of the past. And as you start doing this work and finding better feeling perspectives and almost focusing more positively on the future, so your attention's going to the future rather than the past that you can't change, because you can affect the future by thinking positively about it and getting excited about it. You unleash your mental hold on the past, and you do kind of stop thinking those thoughts. It's almost like you can be sort of focused, you can almost be possessed by thinking certain thoughts. Excuse me. But if you can replace those thoughts that you're addicted to with better feeling thoughts, once you make these better feeling thoughts your focus, these start to evaporate and diminish, and you think more of the better feeling thoughts. You've changed your belief rather than need. So you can't stop a thought, but you need to replace a thought with a better feeling thought. Let's have a look. Sorry. I'm missing, is that, and feel bad. So you're missing others in your life and feel okay. So that, can you, again, it's that you can't change others, but if you can find, and with some of us, we experience death, and we know those people can't return, but if you can find a positive perspective on death, if you can just find a perspective that feels better to you, that sort of lessens the pain and the guilt, then the work is all about what you're doing with your energy, and then you'll feel better, and you'll be able to find a perspective that feels better. Sorry, I can't, Nahid, I will need to know more specifics, I think, to really answer that in detail. Okay, but hopefully, it's all about finding thoughts that feel better on every topic. You can either enjoy or endure life. It's your choice. Most people are unconscious of that choice, but once you become conscious that it's all about your mental focus, you can really start to enjoy life. That's certainly what I'm doing now with this work. By consciously choosing to be optimistic instead of stressed, regardless of your current circumstances, you will start to love life more and more. This will change everything. I promise you that. Any questions? We're at the end of the workshop. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully that's been a benefit. But thank you for your time tonight. What should we do? We'll stay on for like another 5 more minutes if any of you got any questions. But the answer is, in case you haven't realized, find a perspective on whatever issue you've got in your life that feels better to you. That's the solution. Don't take action. Brilliant. Okay, that's fine. Nahid. Oh, thank you so much. No, brilliant. Thank you as well. I really appreciate you sharing, giving up your nearly 2 hours of your time. Hopefully this has been a benefit to you. Do let me know. Just let me know in the chat. Thank you so much. Really appreciated. How about the rest of you? Do you think I've helped you eliminate stress from your life? That was the main aim of this. Thanks. No, thank you. Really, I've enjoyed this as well. No, that's brilliant. Excellent. Just be aware of the direction of your focus. We'll leave it there then. Thank you so much. Have a really good evening. If you go back to the meetup, you'll find I put one up for next month. I believe it's Sunday the 16th, and it's how to love yourself more, which is, as I said, is fundamental to all of this work. If you can work on your relationship with yourself, you can really work on on improving your life. No, thank you. Oh, thank you, Leah. I love this stuff. That's why I teach this. And I'm very enthusiastic about life. And contagious positivity. I'll remember that. That's a lovely quote. Thank you for that. I need to get a t-shirt printed with that tonight. Thank you so much. Have a really good evening, all of you. Hopefully see you back again soon. Check out my website, mrhappiness2000.com. If you go to the blog, there are loads of Abraham-Hicks YouTube videos, which, all about loads of different topics. So find out more. Listen to her rather than me. All right, then, have a fab evening. See you all soon. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Clap along if you feel